Okay, honey, I'm going to start. Okay. Love you. Be careful. Well, I'll say goodbye to Pin when I'll say goodbye to Pin. Well, wait a minute. Let me go do that. Are you going to leave her a check? Okay. Let me just say, hey, Pin, I'm going to come out at 8 o'clock. I don't know if you'll still be here. Okay. All right. Well, you may be here, but you may not. Okay. All right. All right. Okay, honey, be careful. Okay. Hi, Gary. I see you. Hi, Luann. I see you. Hi,
Hi
Liz.
there.
I
I'm so
see you.
lucky to have my internet. It's been off for over 24 hours.
Oh, it's always so kind of scary, isn't it?
I thought I was going to have to go to a friend's house and hijack her internet.
Oh, well, I'm happy you didn't have to do that, Luann.
Yes,
That's
so
just a wonderful thing.
yes, it is.
Hi, Liz. Well, I'm so glad you're animated and electrified tonight. Hi, Gary. I see you. I see your message. I need to be unmuted and start video.
Go.
Okay.
Go.
Oh, do you want me to unmute you, Gary? Let's see. Let's see if I can do this. Ask to unmute. I think you have to unmute yourself, Gary. I don't think it'll let me do this, but let's see. Okay, let's see. I'm going to ask you if you will unmute. So can I check your address, Liz? I've got to send you all a book and I need to.
Yeah, of course.
Let's see. Is your address, Liz? Liz? Oh, there you are. Is your address 5020 Apricot Drive, Loveland, Colorado, 80538?
That's me.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Mark. When I click on both, it does not. Okay, well, Mark is here. So I might get his highly technologically unbelievable. So
Technology impaired? Is that what you're going to
no,
say?
I'm not going to
Yeah.
say
Yes,
impaired. I was
that's
trying
the theme today, technology
trying to-
impairment.
to do like something like impossible, but I was trying to say something grandiose and didn't come out. Okay, Gary has a message. He says, when I click on both, it does not let me do it. So Gary, there is in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, there is a mute button that has a red bar on it. Do you see that? It's if you put your cursor down, if you see your cursor down all the way down on the bottom of your screen, you'll see all these little commands for Zoom to show up. You see the little microphone that's got a red bar through it. That's how you unmute yourself. Can you try clicking on that? You can't. We can always call each other.
Karen, can you give me co-host permission? Because I think,
Yeah.
and what I'm going to do when I get co-host
Okay.
permission is
Yeah.
to send a message for him asking him to unmute. So there'll be
So-
another.
So it appears, this is so weird, Mark. My choices are spotlight, make host, withdraw co-host permission. I think you're already a co-host.
Okay.
See if you're a co-host. Meanwhile, I'll take this cat down, see if that works.
And I am a co-host. Confirmed.
Yay, yay.
So Gary Heisey. Let's see here. Ask to start video.
We don't understand why these things happen.
And there's ask to unmute. So he should be receiving some messages that hopefully will help.
Yeah, I sent him a ask to unmute also.
Oh gosh, he's getting bombarded then, huh?
Yeah, God bless him. See, he's got his little mute button on. Do you see that?
Yes. So Zoom is saying that he is muted on their side. On Gary's side, on the client side.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Just checked on unmute button, no change. I wonder if you should sign out and sign back in. Because he just sent he said, just clicked on unmute button, no change.
Oh my gosh.
What kind of device are you using, Gary? Are you using a PC, laptop, iPad, or your phone?
And then next to the microphone indicator, there's this little up caret. So maybe he can try and change the selection of the microphone.
Yeah.
There are other options.
Okay, so you're on an Apple. So Gary, when do you see your little mute button and you're going to see like an up icon? And if you click on that, you'll see all kinds of things like audio settings, bloody, bloody, bloody. Do you see all that stuff next to your mute microphone, Gary? He said he worked with his Apple today and it worked fine. Oh, yes, he sees it. Okay, good. And so do you see an action that says unmute on that? Or he could, what else could he do, Mark? I'm looking at there's audio settings.
So I'm on my Windows 11 machine right now. So let's see.
So I'm going to check addresses real quick. Lisa Nowicki, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm unmuted already. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
So is your address 590 Devonshire Boulevard, Longwood, Florida?
Yes. 32750.
750. Okay, good. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And let's see, I've got Liz and okay, he's got another message here. I could call, he says. He's going to call. Then I'll put him on speakerphone, then we can figure it out. Okay. Let's do that.
I think your Zoom should have a phone call-in option that we use.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So Luann, I'm checking your address. Oh, I don't have your address. That's pretty interesting. Oh, wait. Yep. Tell me your address, Luann. Oh, you've got that. I don't have to worry about you. Okay, good. Okay. And Sabrina, what's your address? Let me tell you what your address is. Yours is 103 Lakeland Point, Bull Shoals, Arkansas, 72619.
That is correct. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, don't we love that? Okay.
Karen,
Yes.
you don't have to send me the book. I have it from before, the Enneagram.
Yeah, you're going to need them on April 11th, so don't worry. But
Okay.
you know, this is during this time. I usually have given myself about 3 weeks to get everybody's book to them. So I'll say you and Luann don't need a book. Hallelujah!
There we go.
Yay! Okay, so now let's see what's doing with Gary. Oh, Gary says what number? Okay, so I'm going to see if I can get out of here. Okay. Oh, let's see. I'll go to my email.
The zoom.us, Karen.
Yeah, I've got it. Well, I'm right here now at it.
Okay.
So find your, let's see. I'm going to say New York. I'll say the New York number. Let's see here. Or Washington, D.C. Let's do that one.
Wow, Gary's time traveling like never before.
He's time traveling. All right.
He continues to amaze us, Karen.
Okay, Gary, I'm putting this in the chat. And
And we have Lisa coming in.
Okay. Gary, I just sent you the number to, oh, you're probably going to need the password too. Let's see if I can get that for you. You might need the passcode and the meeting ID, so let's send that to you too. Okay. Okay, Gary, I sent you the phone number and I sent you the meeting ID and the passcode number in the chat. If you need me to send them to your cell phone, let me know. Hi,
He's not on
Sonia.
Zoom
Hi.
anymore.
He's not on Zoom anymore.
Oh, yeah, yes, he
Okay.
is. There he is. I see.
There he is. He's right there. Hi, Sonia. Hi, Lisa. How you doing? So I'm checking everybody's their address. So Sonia, is your address 36640 US 270 Wawoka, Oklahoma 74884?
No,
Okay, good. Goody. Let's have it. Okay, go
it's
ahead.
it's 12825
Yep.
County Road 3530
3530
Ada, which is ADA,
ADA.
Oklahoma
Mm-hmm.
74820.
74820. So 12825 County Road 3530. And then it's Ada, Oklahoma 74820.
Yes.
Okay, goody. And let's see, Lisa, what about your address? Let me read it off to you. Is it 2350 Colton Drive, Chesterfield, Virginia 23235?
Yes.
Thank you, guys. All right, well, let's see. Gary, how are you doing over there? I wonder if I have to send a, yes.
I'm gonna log in. I'm gonna log back in because I'm on my phone and it's hard for me to see anything on my phone. So I finally got my
Okay.
laptop. So
Okay, great, great.
And we have an 828-273-7385.
I bet you that's Gary.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, we
can.
can hear you. Yay.
Wonderful.
We've got two sign-ins. We have your sign-in to your Apple and we have your sign-in to your phone. Okay, now we just have your phone. That's perfect. Can you see the screen
So you
at
can
all?
hear me?
Yes.
I can't,
We
but
can
that's okay.
Oh, how are you going to follow along with your one-page business
Oh,
plan?
that's true. So let me go back to it again. Because I think when I logged in, it was reverberating. So let me try it again.
Okay, okay. Okay.
I just
We're having
renamed his phone number, Karen.
Oh, you did?
The
Thank
Gary
you. Mark.
Heisey phone. So.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, here he
And
comes. Oh,
Gary
yikes,
comes back
maybe he's
in.
actually coming in. Hey, Gary.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
We
We
don't have
can.
the mute indicator.
Oops,
Can you hear
there
me
it went.
now?
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Okay, we're not getting reverberation now. Oh, yeah, we are. Okay.
Just a little bit.
Okay. Let me come out of this.
I wonder if Gary did a system update and needs to grant Zoom permission.
Did you hear that, Gary?
Hold on a second. Let's see.
Okay.
I can see me on the screen, but that's it. So let me go to join.
Oh, goody. Yeah, here you are. We're letting you join us.
Okay, it says join with computer audio. So I don't want to click on that. So let me come out of that. And let me see if I can see. I see a phone in the middle of my screen. I see your pictures to the far right.
Good.
But I don't see anything on the screen other than the telephone.
Okay.
So maybe
Do you-
there. Okay, now I see your face.
okay, good. So you,
Now I see the
um,
telephone.
excellent. So when you see my face, that's good because I'm going to share my screen and share the document for you. So
Yep.
hopefully that'll work.
Active speaker will be likely what Gary sees.
Okay, goody. All right.
So I can now.
Okay, here comes
Yeah,
Matthew.
Matthew's coming
Okay.
in. Uh-huh.
Okay, wonderful. All right, well, we're just having a few little technical glitches. So welcome everyone to class number 6. Welcome, welcome. Last night was the first night of spring. We're in the equinox and we are in a sign of new times and new beginnings, and yay. So it's a powerful time. So what we're going to do is take a few minutes and we'll sign in something regarding spring, and then Gary is I'm going to share my screen and I'll present his presentation. And so we'll go with it. So hi. And so let's see. I said, Luann, why don't you start with something about spring you want to check in us?
Today has been interesting. I'm going to check in as the wind because it's erratic. You can't control it. Sometimes it just blows everything hither, tither, and yon, and that's been today. So there we go. The wind.
Okay, good. The wind. Okay, Liz, what about you?
I was just gonna look up the name of this tree. Okay, but I'm checking in as the little buds of leaves in one of the 2 trees I planted last year. Things are getting ready to spring.
Congratulations. Good. And Mark, what about you?
So I had my first sighting coming back from work. Mr. Bear, my teddy bear. Yes, I see every night, but the bear I saw had leaves and pine cones all over his face. So the hair wasn't combed. So the bear that I saw about 2 hours ago, hour ago, apparently just woke up and was hungry.
Yeah, amen. Thank you. Okay, Sabrina.
So I am going to check in as a dandelion. Everybody has reminded me about keeping your weeds out for the pollinators. So I have been trying to do that for Mother Nature. But I personally like dandelions because my favorite Eeyore quote says, weeds are flowers too once you get to know them. And so in my garden, I have a Eeyore statue, and that's what it says on there with like a little dandelion and Eeyore. And that makes me happy.
Awesome. Thank you, Sabrina. Okay, Lisa Nowicki, what about you?
I will check in as the sun. It's been beautiful weather here in Florida. It got down to the 40s last night, and it was just maybe peaked up into the low 70s today. I know the sun's pretty powerful here this time of year, but it just feels so nice because the weather is cool. So that's what I'm checking in as.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, and Lisa Seeds, what about you?
Now it's working.
It's hard for me because spring is so many different things. Right now, the weather in Virginia is kind of chaotic. We don't know if it's spring, fall, winter, summer. Every day is a challenge. So I guess I'm the one.
Oops. Matthew, you might, there he goes. Okay. So what were you saying at the end of that,
I said,
Lisa?
I think the weather.
Okay,
Like I said, in Virginia, it's so chaotic right now. It's like I said, we don't know if it's spring, summer, winter, fall. You know, it's just every day's a new temperature.
okay.
Or I should say every 5 minutes.
Every 5 minutes. Okay. All right. And Sonia.
All right, well, I guess mine is gonna be like three combined in one. Because we're doing our Three Sisters cultural class tonight, which is about everyone bringing in their own unique gifts and qualities to contribute to the community so that we can have a thriving community, sustainable community. And that's what we're doing tonight in class. Everybody's reconnecting with Mother Earth and planting a seed tonight. So the Three Sisters is a good way to start.
Love that. Thank you, Sonia. And Matthew.
I was having trouble getting on, so then I was double on. I was on my phone on here, so sorry about that. I would say turbulent. You know, I'm up in Colorado for a couple of days, and the weather has just been all over the place. I've had heavy snow to, you know, beautiful spring morning, and I think I've been kind of that way all day today too.
Okay. And Gary, are you able to check in as a spring thing?
Sure, I'll check in as an Easter egg hunt. I always found them magical and wonderful in the spring.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thanks, Gary. And I'm going to check in as a hungry bear. We have a giant, it's a tumbler for food waste. And it weighs probably 200 or 300 pounds. And I came out this morning and it was picked up and thrown down. A lot of the stuff in it was all over the ground. So I guess you could say March comes in like a lion, and in this case, March goes out like a lion. So, and welcome, Jennifer. We're in the final processes of checking in as something spring. What are you? And hello. Can you hear us, Jennifer?
She's got her Zoom microphone on mute and the camera shut off as well.
Yeah.
I wonder if Zoom did some sort of update and is creating a little havoc.
This must be part of the equinox. We're having all kinds of energy issues.
It's the wind.
Okay, well, so let it be. All right, well, we'll let Jennifer work on hers too. Don't worry, Jennifer, you're not the only one tonight. So I'm really delighted to have Gary Heisey here with you all. So I'm going to tell you about him. And then after I'm done, I'd love for you to go around the classroom and say a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and why you're taking the course. And he's having technical issues too. So we're just going to deal with it because that's what we do. We're nurses and we deal with it, right? So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go up here and I'm looking for Gary. Here it is. Okay, so Gary is an awesome human. He is just a picture of Gary. Hopefully you might get to see him tonight in the flesh. He is part of something called Blue Ridge Community College. And you'll learn as we go through the course that the community colleges all over the country have been benefacted with hundreds and thousands of millions of dollars from the federal government to help small business owners start their business. So he is the executive director of Vision Henderson County. That is one county over from Asheville. And he's lived here in Western North Carolina for 26 years. He is the executive director for the Blue Ridge Community College Mission Acceleration Business Accelerator program. So it's a comprehensive business innovation program designed to assist for profit or nonprofit or family-owned business, take them to the next level of success and sustainability. He's an adjunct faculty at Blue Ridge, and he teaches classes for all kinds of local entrepreneurs and business community through their small business center at Blue Ridge Community College. And he's authored 4 workbooks on branding and marketing, and his company is called Brandor. And prior to his current roles, he spent 11 years at the award-winning Blue Ridge Community College Small Business as the small business director. Then he directed the Blue Ridge Community College Small Business Center, which was rated #1 small business center training out of 58 North Carolina colleges. And he's personally taught over 600 business seminars and assisted over 1,000 startups, growth, and scale-up companies with management advice, branding, marketing. And he is a phenomenal teacher. I've taken a few courses from him, and you will learn that any of the community colleges have a wealth of unbelievably priced, beautiful courses. He's also got a master's degree in entrepreneurism from Western Carolina, and he has staggering wonderful things that have been awarded to him. As the Person of the Year from the North Carolina Community College Staff Person, and Mountain BizWorks Chair of the Lending Committee, and served on the Executive Finance Committee. You're going to learn about SCORE. That's the Service of Retired Executives, so he does a lot of work. So I have to share because I'm going to be showing Gary's slides. So before I do that, let me stop sharing so you all can identify yourselves. Can you just go around the room and say your name and where you're from and why you're taking this course? So go ahead, Luann.
Hi, Gary. My name is Luann, and I am a registered nurse that has come out of the hospital system, guest critical care. And my desire is to actually start repackage myself and start a business where I can help people navigate their wellness and with a focus on wellness. And so Karen has a great class, and that's why I'm in it.
So thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Luann. Okay, Liz, what about you?
I too am a nurse and have been for decades. Okay, well, a couple decades. And I'm in Colorado. I work from home as a nurse now. And I was just talking to my mom this morning because she's like, I was just at the doctor's office and they didn't even mention that when they scheduled my next appointment that I had another one 2 days later. And we were just kind of talking about the chaos of the medical system and how it's a whole job. And that's exactly what I would like to do, is make it easier, even for myself, to obtain health care, but also for others.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you.
And Mark, do you want to give an update to Gary about anything about you?
No, Gary and I go back many years in business presentations. I'm one of his biggest fans. I'm the one that sits in the back with the pom-poms and cheers Gary on when he has his events.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, Sabrina.
I'm Sabrina. I am from Atlanta. I live in the middle of nowhere, Arkansas. I am excited to take this class. I have been a nurse for a decade. And like Liz was saying, I feel like there's a huge opportunity for our healthcare system to improve. And I think that this is a way that I can be a part of it. Also, I like the holistic approach and learning all the different ways that you can for patient. That's not just traditional, medicine. So
Wonderful. And then this is Lisa Nowicki.
Hey, yeah, I'm from Orlando, Florida, and excited to be in this class, just learning how to better help my patients and start my own business. Yeah, just again, like navigating the healthcare system in a holistic fashion.
Thank you. And this is Lisa Seeds.
Hey, so I'm Lisa Seeds. I've been a nurse for 22 years or so. I'm from Chesterfield, Virginia. And I'm taking this class for lots of reasons, but the main ones are to help my staff and the patients find a new approach to better themselves and help each other out, as well as to grow. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Sonia.
Hi, Gary. My name is Sonia Frazier, and I'm from Oklahoma. I'm Choctaw and Chickasaw. I work for the Indian Health Services. And what we're wanting to do is develop like a spiritual clinic or a complementary clinic, holistic clinic. Everything's still up in the air about what we want to do with it, but we're just trying to gather information right now to get that started. I've been a nurse for over 21 years. And that's the whole purpose of taking this class, is to become more educated in that area on how to get this clinic started.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, Matthew.
Hi, Gary. My name's Matthew Moody. I base in Santa Fe and Albuquerque, New Mexico. Today I'm up on a retreat in Colorado. I'm a medical provider. I'm a family nurse practitioner. Just left the world of prison doctoring and opening up, kind of being more entrepreneurial nursing. And I'm taking this class just to kind of round that out. I want to be able to take care of a patient, but I also want to make sure they're taken care of while they're being taken care of. So here I am.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, and Jennifer is our last student. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi. Sorry about the technical issues. We're having issues with our network and our computers and like so hopefully I am from Mend or Chesterfield. Lisa Seeds and I work together and have in a nurse. I will hit 31 years. I know I don't look like it. But I am so completely tired of the moral injury that we spoke about a few classes ago. And I am truly hoping to help other people navigate and avoid some of the issues that I've seen lately going on.
Great. Okay, Gary, are you ready? I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to share Gary's one-page business plan. Let's see here. Here we go. Can you see that, Gary?
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
So let's just start off big picture. And the big picture is what each of you want to do is within your reach and you can do it. You've never started a business before, if you've never opened a clinic before, you can do it. And the easiest way to do that is just like if I ask you to cook something in the kitchen you've never cooked before and I give you a recipe, if you follow the recipe, it's going to work for you. So what I'm giving you tonight is sort of a recipe for starting a practice, starting a clinic, and we're going to go through each step. None of these are complicated. Sometimes it takes a little thinking, but they're all doable. And you're going to get my telephone number and my email after tonight. If you have any questions on this form, all you have to do is call me or email me, and I will walk you through it. So let's go ahead and get started. So when you're looking to start a practice or a clinic or whatever, the first thing you're going to need is a name. And there's two kinds of names out there. One is a direct name and one is an indirect name. Either one is perfectly good. You just have to manage it differently. So a direct name, as an example, is they know exactly what you do because it's in your name. So Karen, what do you all do? What's the buzzword?
RN patient advocacy.
So if that's in your name, you have a direct name. People know exactly what you do. If that's not in your name, you have an indirect name, and that's okay too. And that indirect name could be your name, or it could be another name in regards to that. So either one is perfectly fine. Once you come up with a name, you're just going to either check direct or indirect. If you need help in coming up with a name, just email me or call me, and I'll point you in the right direction and help you with it. So the next thing we want to look at with a name is, once you come up with a name, we want to make sure that you can use that name. And there's an organization at the top there, it says trademark free USPTO tests. So if you go to Google and you type in USPTO tests, it's going to take you to the Patent and Trademark Office. And what you do is you put your name in the search box, and it's going to come back and tell you if anybody is using that name in the United States. If nobody is using that name in the United States, that name is clear and free. If somebody else is using that name in the United States, as an example, you have to come up with another name. Otherwise, they can send you a cease and desist order and say, you cannot use this name because we've registered at the federal level. So once you come up with a name, simply go to USPTO tests, search box will come up, put your name in there, hit search, and see whether it's trademark free or not. If it's trademark free, you are good to go. If it's not trademark free, we need to come up with a different name. So that's the first thing at the federal level. In the states that you're in, whether it is Colorado or Florida or Virginia or New Mexico or Oklahoma, all of your states have a Secretary of State, and on their website, they have a name search process. So if you're looking to form a legal entity in your state, you can go to your Secretary of State name search. Their search box is going to come up. You can put your name in there, and you can see now if anybody has registered that name in the state. If nobody has registered that name in the state, you are good to go at the state level. So typically, you want to make sure it's available at the federal level. You want to make sure it's available at the state level. If both of those are good, you're good to go. And I would do that before you file a legal status with your state. So Karen, the legal status that most of the individuals are going to be registering underneath is what?
Probably as an LLC, Gary.
And specifically what kind?
What kind?
Yeah.
Well, I see. Well, they're going to, in some of the states, there'll be professional limited liability companies. And in other states, it'll just be a plain old limited liability company. Does that answer your question?
Correct.
Okay.
So before you file the state, go to your Secretary of State, do a name search, and make sure your name is available. And that way, when you file it, they're going to be able to accept it. If you file it with a name that somebody else is already using, they're going to deny it. You don't want to be denied. Extra paperwork. So make sure it's available. Go to your Secretary of State. All your states have it. Do a name search and see if the name's available in regards to that. And as we go through tonight, if you have any questions, just bring them up. And like I said, afterwards, you can call me, email me, and I'll be happy to do it afterwards. So right now, you're going to come up with a name. We can help you with that. It's either going to be a direct or indirect name, which is perfectly fine. You want to make sure it's available in your state, and you want to make sure it's available at the federal level. Those are your first two steps. Once you come up with a name, how you manage that name is a little different, whether it's a direct name or an indirect name. So in a direct name, people know exactly what you do because it's already in the name. So your tagline is the short phrase that goes under your company name. And what you want to do is you want to have some type of a competitive advantage in your tagline. It's usually 2 or 3 words. And that way, when people see your name, they know what you do, but you want to give them a reason to reach out to you first. So down in this area, in most of your states, there's a franchise out there called Ben Franklin Plumbing. So Ben Franklin Plumbing is a direct name because plumbing is in their name. So their tagline is, and what their competitive advantage is their tagline is the punctual plumber. So in the service sector, a lot of times people aren't punctual, they don't call you, they run late. So what they're sort of saying is, if you want a plumber that's going to show up on time and do the job right, that's us. And that's why it's in their tagline, the punctual plumber. So if they didn't have plumbing in their name, then, and let's say as an example, it was Orlando Services as an example, well, you don't know what kind of services are in Orlando. So in that tagline, you would basically put plumbing, heating, and air conditioning. So you're letting people know exactly what you do. So when you pick out of a direct name, you want to put a competitive advantage in there. What's the thing that causes you to stand out? And then if you have an indirect name, you want to let people know exactly what you're doing, because today people don't have a long attention span. You've got to give them things quick, easy, and fast, and that way they connect with that then. So you want to come up with a tagline that can sort of help you with that. Now, this is going to be part A. I'm going to give you part B after today. So if you need help filling this out, other than emailing me or calling me, I have a 45-page business plan that the first 20 pages goes into more detail in helping you answer these, but the last 20-some pages is an appendix. So if you're trying to come up with a name, it tells you what page to go into appendix to help you with that. If you're trying to come up with a tagline, it tells you what page to go to in the appendix to sort of help you with that. So the next thing you want to do for starting a clinic, starting a practice, or things like that, you want to be able to describe your business based on what people are looking for. So what people are generally looking for is how to navigate the healthcare system. They're looking for better health. They're looking for less stress. They're looking for the best options. So when you describe your business, let them know in the first sentence what you do, broad-based, but go into what the benefits are that they're going to get from you. People find you because of features, the service that you provide, but people connect with you based on the benefits that you're going to provide. So if you're providing the ability to navigate the system, if you're providing better health, if you're providing better stress, if you're providing a easier way to make decisions, that's what you want to let people know, because that's what they're really looking for. Is they're looking for that, put that black and white right up front in regards to that, and that'll help them connect with you, because what causes people to sort of connect or buy things is an emotional connection. It's a feeling, it's an emotion. I want to be less stressed, I want to be happier, I want to be able to make wise decisions, I want to be able to help my family navigate the system. That's what you want to put in there. So the next thing here on the list that you're going to be checking is you're going to be checking a wholesale business, a retail business, a manufacturing business, a service business, or other. So if you're just going to be basically providing services on an hourly basis or a contract basis, you're going to be checking service. If you find that you want to retail some products in addition to your service, that could be books, that could be workshops, that could be seminars as an example, then you're going to be checking retail. So if you're only doing services, you're checking service. If you're selling books or things like that, you're going to be checking retail. Now, if you're going to be creating the book and publishing it, or you're going to be creating a workbook and selling it or whatever, then you're going to be checking manufacturing, because now you're making something in addition to selling it retail to people. in addition to providing a service to people in regards to that. So let's say you create a book or a workbook or something like that that you're selling to consumers, you'd be checking retail. But if you're going to sell that to somebody else to sell to the public, then you're going to be checking wholesale. So most of you are only going to be checking service. If you're creating something to sell, you're going to be checking manufacturing. But if you're buying something wholesale and you're selling at retail, like you're getting some books off of Amazon that you're selling, then you're going to be checking retail. Any questions on that? So most of you are going to be checking just service in the beginning. So we'll go down to business legal structure. We've talked about that already as an example. So most of you are going to basically be in the limited liability category or the professional liability category. So you're going to be checking LLC. So one of the things you want to do when you're trying to connect with people and you're trying to sort of help people find you is what you want to do is you want to go to Google as an example, and there's a platform out there called Keyword Planner. So Keyword Planner. So if you go to Keyword Planner, it is a free database. And what they do is they help you look for the phrases that people use when they search for you. That's really important because when people search for something on the internet, you want to be using the same words because it makes it easier for Google to connect with you, but it also makes it easier for you to communicate with people because what they're looking for is how you describe your business in regards to that. So go to Keyword Planner, type in what you're doing, and see how people are searching for it today. That can help you when you're doing your website. That can help you with social media. That can help you with any kind of marketing that you're doing because now you're using words that they use when they try to search for you. One of the assets that you have is all your expertise that you'd have, all your years of experience, but it's also a liability because you don't think like the average person anymore, you think like a nurse. The average person doesn't think like a nurse. They go to Google with an average person mindset. They don't understand how you talk about things or communicate things. So it's really important to understand how they think and how they search for things and make sure you build your marketing around that. So go to Keyword Planner and look for that phrase or phrases they use when they search for you. Any questions on that? Okay, so let's go down to pivot point. And a lot of times when people are talking about their business, they're talking about the features that they sell, the products they sell, the services they sell. But that's not the business you're in, as an example. So Karen, what's the buzzword for what you're in? What do people search for, and what are you providing? What's it called?
It's called patient advocacy. So people call me
Okay.
all the time and say, I'm looking for a patient advocate. Yep.
Okay. So that's probably going to be one of the search phrases that you're going to find based on what she's sharing. But what you want to look at is you are not in the patient advocate business. That's the service you're providing. So you want to look at the benefits they're going to get from you as an example. So when we look at basically the pivot point is the business that you're really in as an example. So if we take as an example a convenience store, yes, they sell food, yes, they sell gas, yes, they sell cigarettes or whatever, but the business they're in is convenience. That's the business they're in. People want to get in and out fast as an example. So if we look at your pivot point as an example, it all boils back to, I would say, better health. That's your pivot point, is better health. Now that better health might be going through a process easier. As an example, it might not mean that they're going to sort of go back to improved health again. It might be they're going to go through that process better. That's where they're at right now. So better health is what they're going through right now. as an example. Also, it might mean that they're going to get healthier too. But I see your pivot point being better health. So every decision that you make, my recommendation is go back and say, does this promote better health? If the answer is yes, you should do it. If you aren't quite sure, you need to pause and think about it a little bit, as an example. And if the answer is no, you shouldn't do it, as an example. So everything you're making decisions about in your business, go back to your pivot point and say, does this promote better health? And that's going to make it easier for you to make decisions about starting your practice, growing your practice in regards to that. So some things don't necessarily lead to better health. It might be quicker, faster, easier. That might not always be the best solution in regards to that. The next thing we want to look at is a brand story. And people remember stories more than they remember marketing. So when you're doing a story, you want to write a story that connects with people, as an example, and how people think when they're searching for your type of a sort of a business or practice. So I recommend there's 3 parts to a sort of a brand story or a business story. The first sentence should be, if you're doing patient advocacy work, that should be in the first sentence. So now they know it, they're in the right room, because this is what you provide. You're providing patient advocacy services. Doesn't have to be more than a sentence. If you're in an area that they don't really understand what that means, you might add another sentence and describe what a patient advocate is. That way they can connect the dots between the phrase and what it is. So that's 2 sentences or so. The next section of your story is you want to share what the benefit is on going to a patient advocate. And that should be a bigger part of your story, because that's what they're looking for, as an example. And that should be a bigger part of your story, and that could be a full paragraph. Or if you're able to do it in bullet points, people would rather scan than read. So the benefits that you provide people could be in bullet points. It makes it scannable. The last third of your story is you can talk about you. Okay? Your credentials, your background, but it shouldn't be more than a couple sentences, a paragraph, no more. If it's more than that, you lose people. So if you got a wonderful background and you've been doing this for decades and you got these certifications and all that thing, what I suggest you do in your story is you put a hyperlink and say, for more details, you click on that hyperlink, and now they go to a secondary page on your website. Because if you give people too much in the beginning, sometimes you lose them. So your story should be 3 simple paragraphs. Paragraph 1 is what you do. Paragraph 2 is the benefits I'm going to get by coming to you. And paragraph 3 is the credentials or credibility that I'm going to the right person, the right clinic, the right practice, as an example. And for more details, put in a hyperlink where they can go to basically a secondary page and put everything there you want. Because the people that want that are going to click on it. The people that don't want it in regards to that. So let's go down now to pricing strategy. There's 3 pricing strategies out there: below market, at market, and above market. Below market means you're cheap. Above market means you're luxury. Where you want to check is at market. And at market means that you are delivering more value than something that's cheap, as an example. You never want to be in the cheap category. You always want to be in the at market category. And that's the one you would check. And the reason they're going to spend more with you, as an example, versus getting a book and reading it, or watching something on TV or something like that, is because you can deliver more value to them and you can help them better because of your background, your expertise, and you can guide them through the process better. So you're going to be checking at market. So when you get down to competition, as an example, there's 2 kinds of competition out there. There's cost advantage and there's differential, as an example. You don't want to check cost advantage because you're cheap. You don't want to be in the cheap category, as an example, just like pricing above. So you're going to check a differential advantage. So the question is, how are you different? And that goes back to the values that you deliver. That's how you're different. And right in front of that, you want to look at 3 competitors. Okay? So some competitors might be a direct competitor. Some people might be an indirect competitor. So if you're in your geographic area, if there's another patient advocate doing what you're doing, not necessarily the exact same way, but pretty similar, that's a direct competitor. Example. If somebody's not a patient advocate, as an example, and they might be a medical doctor, they might be some other expertise in the medical industry, that's an indirect competitor because they are not providing what you do in the way you do it in regards to that. So you're always going to have competitors. You might have direct competitors. You might have indirect competitors. And the other indirect competitor is somebody doing it themselves. I'm going to try to navigate the healthcare system myself. I'm going to try to figure out what these medical people are telling me, as an example, myself. So there's people out there that try to navigate it themselves. They're going to be an indirect competitor because they're not a patient advocate. There might be doctors out there trying to do what you're doing, but they are not a patient advocate. So those are indirect competitors. The reason you're looking at competitors, whether they're direct or indirect, is because the general public is going to be looking at them also. And you have to have a way that you're a little different, and that way you stand out, and that way they have a greater chance of sort of connecting with you in regards to that. So under competitive advantage, you're checking differential advantage. So if we get down to marketing and sales strategies, too many people, when they look at marketing, only focus on getting the phone to ring, getting somebody to visit your website, getting somebody to visit your social media, as an example, walking through your door. My suggestion when you look at marketing, you want to look at it in 3 ways. How am I attracting people to me? How am I converting them from somebody that's interested to a client? And how am I having them come back to me as a repeat client or refer people to me? So step 1, a lot of times, is your website, it's your social media, it's your business card, it's your rack card, it's networking. It might be doing some short seminars or something like that. That's what you're putting down there. For step 2, the thing that's going to convert them over to being a client that you can really help is usually what we call a call to action. If you get me interested, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to call you? Do you want me to visit your website? Do you want to have a 15-minute free consultation to learn more about patient advocacy? You want to have some kind of a call to action there. They could sign up for a newsletter, as an example, because you want them to make it easy. When you think about marketing, think about a GPS. A GPS makes it easy to travel. Go 600 yards down the road and make a right-hand turn on this street. That's what you want your marketing to do, is you want to build GPS into it. So when you get people interested, make it easy for them to take that next step. Let them know what that next step is. And the third step here is, how do you create repeat customers or people referring to you? Under-deliver, really? Under-deliver and over-exceed. So promise less, deliver more. Promise less, deliver more. That way people are going to be really excited. They're going to be really happy. Is make sure that you deliver more than you say you're going to do. And that way people are going to really be happy with you. And that you can do that in your marketing. You can do that, when people come to see you. You can do that with follow-up, all those types of things. You can do that. Under basically management, you want to look at what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. So, strengths might be marketing and advertising. Strengths might be accounting. Strengths might be being a patient advocate. So you want to look at your strengths and weaknesses, because what happens is when you run into stress, you always go to your strengths and not your weaknesses. That's human nature. So if your strength isn't something, it's a weakness, And what you want to do is you want to improve that weakness. You can go take a program like you're taking now as an example. All of your states have SCORE chapters, Service of Retired Executives. They all have them. All of your states have an organization called SBDC, Small Business Development Centers. All your states have those. Most of your states have, for those of you that are women, have women's business centers as an example. If anybody's a veteran, there's veterans business centers out there. So don't do it yourself. Get some help. There's a lot of help out there that doesn't cost you anything, whether it's SCORE, whether it's SBDDC, whether it's the women's business centers. Reach out to those people. Community colleges have great small business sort of assistance to sort of help you in regards to that. So we're going to go to the back side now. I have 7 more minutes. So if it's taking more capital than you have to start your business, as an example, here are 17 different ways that you might look at raising more capital, as an example. Angel investors, as a general rule, they probably will not be interested in you because they're looking for a business that's going to grow rapidly and repay them back quickly, as an example. They're looking for a lot more of a business that's going to scale up quickly because they're looking at it as an investment. A bank loan, as a general rule, they would rather provide you a personal loan than a bank loan until you've been in business for 3 years. Depends on your bank, but that could be a place that you could sort of check out. Bartering is always something you can do. So if you need a logo design and somebody wants some navigation help, you can do a trade out there, as an example. Customer capital is where people are paying you up front before you start seeing them. And again, if you have a contract, it might be a certain amount of money up front as part of that contract to start the contract. Crowdfunding is where you're going out to the internet and you're trying to raise some funds on the internet. That takes some marketing, and generally it takes a really sort of a niche type of thing they would have interest in. As an example, factoring isn't going to fit you. That's where you're carrying a balance on the books and somebody is coming in to buy the balance. So they're not paying you over time. You're getting more money up front. Family and friends is always a good thing to do, but I would always share a business plan with them and let them know the risks and the rewards. You know, nothing destroys family and friends more than misunderstandings over money. So share a business plan with them, be upfront. That's going to make it a lot easier for you. There's finance companies out there that are nonprofits. There's ones that out there that are for-profits. With the finance companies, I would look at ones that are tied in with the federal government. And there's ones tied in with the federal government that get federal funding, as an example. There's government loans out there. For you, it's going to be an SBA loan. SBA doesn't provide you the money directly, as an example. It backs the bank loan. So your bank, as an example, might be hesitant about doing a business loan, but with the SBA backing it, that might help you sort of get that loan, as an example, to get started. I have found very few grants out there unless it's a local grant. Where they're trying to help women-owned businesses or minority-owned businesses or things like that. The best source for grants is grants.gov. So grants.gov is things from the federal government. You can check with you. Most places have an economic development director in your county. And that's a person who specializes in economic development. You can reach out to them and ask their assistance. Do they know of any grants? You can reach out to SCORE again, Service Retired Executives. You can reach out to SBDC as an example. You can reach out to Women's Business Centers as an example. You can reach out to, as an example, we'll touch shortly here on microloan organizations. So leasing is another option that you can save your money to put towards something else. Instead of buying a computer, it might make sense to leasing a computer. Instead of buying furniture for your office, it might make sense to leasing furniture for your office. You have less money you have to put up front, and you can save that money to put towards other types of things. A microloan organization is a nonprofit organization. They are there for a gap, and the gap is for businesses that want to start within the first 3 years. So if you go to your city or your county or your state to Google and you type in microloan organizations in Orlando or microloan organizations in your city, it's going to tell you the microloan organizations there. They're nonprofits. They're to help you get your business started and sort of scale up. That's sort of their focus. Personal credit cards, I would be very careful with that. Unless you can pay it off within a short period of time, the interest rate can eat you alive. So make sure you can pay off that credit card in a fairly short period of time if you're going to do that. Personal loans, as an example, is when you're going to the bank. A lot of times people are more happy to do an equity line or something like that versus a business loan. So that could be a possibility. Or as an example, if you're not borrowing a lot of money, it could be a signature loan, as an example, in regards to that. If any of you are tied in with the government in any way, as an example, the credit unions, as an example, are really good for personal loans or signature loans, just as a general rule in regards to that. Personal savings is money you have in the bank. It might be assets you have that you're not using. So I've had people that have had motorcycles, boats, cars, expensive music equipment, and it just sits in the garage or it sits in a closet. And I said, why don't you get rid of that, take the money you get for it and invest it in your business, because you're not using that boat anymore, you're not riding that motorcycle anymore, you're not playing that guitar anymore. Hurry yourself up, put the money into something that can help you sort of move forward. Trade credits is when you get a credit card from an organization that you might be buying office supplies from, like Staples or Office Max or whatever, as an example. And venture equity capital is for the next Apple, it's for the next Google. It's not generally for us in regards to that. So you can go through, check those as an example. I think the ones that are going to help you the most are basically personal savings, family and friends, microloan organizations, as an example. Those are the ones that probably will be the easiest to sort of connect with in the beginning. The last thing I have there is a cash flow statement. You don't want to operate your business from a checkbook, because all you can see what's in your checkbook is what's in your checkbook. It doesn't tell you what's coming up in the future. A cash flow statement is every month you're looking at revenue and you're looking at expenses. There's a hyperlink there that'll take you to a score template, as an example, in regards to this. We are now at 8 o'clock. That's your one-page business plan. You're going to get my telephone number. You're going to get my email. Any questions you have on this, just call me or email me, and I'll be more than happy to explain them in more detail. If you're struggling with coming up with a name or a tagline, I can help you with that. There's no issues there. There's no charges for that. As an example, I'll get you pointed in the right direction. And then the other thing you can request if you want to, this is one page. I have another one that's 40 pages long. It's 20 pages for the business plan, not one, but it's 20. It makes it easier to fill some of these things out. Plus, there's a 20-page appendix with it that goes into helping you name, helping you tagline, helping you market, all of those types of things. My time is up. It's been a pleasure. You'll get my telephone number, my email. Feel free to reach out to me. You're going down the right path. Everything you want is within your reach. Don't do it alone. Reach out to people that can help you. There's a lot of organizations out there that are not going to charge you to help you. Take advantage of it. That's what they're there for.
Gary, they have, you're officially, you can talk till 10 after. Can they ask you a few questions?
You can ask as many questions as you want. And if you want me to talk more than 10 minutes, I can.
You can talk even more than 10 minutes, okay? Because they might have some questions for you. Do you want me to stop sharing or do you all want to keep looking at this while you ask questions? I can't see everybody, so I'll stop sharing for a minute. Let's see, stop sharing so I can see if there's hands.
So what I would do if I was you is I would print this form out, or you can do it on your computer, and just start checking the boxes. A lot of the boxes you can check already, whether it's pricing, whether it's competitive advantage. Check all those boxes. The things that you're having trouble completing, whether it's a name or a tagline, brainstorm on that a little bit, think a little bit, and if you're spending too much time on it, it is not in your best interest. All you do is you call me or you email me.
And he will answer you, and he's awesome.
Because what you're doing is too important for you. What you're doing is too important for people that live in your community. You all know it's not an easy system to navigate. You know that more information helps people make better decisions. You all know that if they have more information and better information, it reduces stress. There's plenty of things out there where you can make a difference in people's lives.
Karen Sabrina did raise her hand.
Did she really? Okay, Sabrina.
Did she really? Like, I don't know if that's disappointment or not, but I was taking the liberty of looking at my Arkansas Secretary of State company search page, and it asked me when I'm trying to search like a company name, it says enter either the name or the fictitious name, and I'm confused. Like, as a fictitious name, is that what I'm thinking of for my business? Or like, I don't understand name or fictitious name.
Sometimes people have a company name, but they operate some of their business under a different name. So in that situation, I would just do company name.
Okay.
Start.
Okay. I don't need a secret name, like if I won the lottery and I'm trying to hide myself. Okay. That was question number one. And then my question number two was when you were talking about the keyword planner, I didn't hear you mention SEO, and I didn't know if you thought we should take that into account when we're dealing with a keyword planner, or if that doesn't make it relevant.
When you find words that people use in search, and you use those words in your marketing, whether it's websites, social media, business cards, rack cards, whatever, it's going to help you with your SEO because it helps people connect the dots. Is you're communicating the way they think, the way they use words in regards to that. Now, the one thing we didn't talk about tonight is when you're looking to start a practice, start a clinic, or grow a practice, or grow a clinic, basically, you would need to have more customers. And there's two ways to have more customers, as an example. One is to make it easier for people to find you that are already searching. There's people right now that are searching for what you do, literally this moment in the country. And the second thing you want to do is you want to have content that inspires them that you're the best person to start off with based on that search. So what Google does now is, and you go back to SEO as an example, Google drives search to Google My Business or Google Business Profile. So what you want to do is you want to have a Google Business Profile. It's free. It takes about 15 minutes to fill it out. You can have a bricks and mortar business, or you can have a home-based business. And the home-based business, you cannot advertise your home address in the Google Business Profile. They're just going to see your telephone number or your website or your social media or whatever. So you can have a home-based business, or you can have a bricks and mortar business, but you definitely want to have a Google Business Profile because that's where Google pushes everything towards. They don't push it to websites. They don't push it to social media. Google Business Profile is like a menu in regards to that. And where they put you on the menu, there's no rhyme and reason. There's usually 20 per page. So if there's less than 20 in your category, as an example, then it's going to be 1 page. If there's more than 20, there's going to be 2 pages. The way you can move up once you are listed, as an example, on that menu is there's 5 things to do to move up in search. Google Business Profile or any search. And it's all based on fresh, relevant content. So Google rewards people that put in fresh, relevant content. Google doesn't reward people that don't put in fresh, relevant content. So if you want to move up in SEO, it's fresh, relevant content, but it's not quantity, it's consistency. So what I see a lot of people doing with social medias or Google Business Profiles is they dump a bunch of crap in the beginning and then they forget about it. You don't want to do that. That doesn't help you. So if you're going to put in photos in your Google Business Profile, you want to think about the next 12 months and say, what am I going to do? If you're going to do 12, then do 1 photo per month. So the 5 for Google Business Profile are photos, reviews, owner's response to reviews, posting, like you do on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and a 750 character description. Those are the 5 things that if you're consistently doing things in those 5 areas, you're going to move up in SEO. You're going to move up on Google Business Profile. I had a person that was on page 20, okay? There's 20 per page, that's 400 down. And in 6 to 7 months doing the 5 things I've suggested, they ended up getting on page 1, the top 20. Didn't cost them a penny. They just did the 5 things consistently. I got 1 more minute to 8:10.
So would you please tell them what SEO is? We haven't gotten to that yet, Gary.
Engine optimization. You want to make it easier for people to find what they're looking for. Keywords can help you with that. Consistency can help you with that. That's what Google rewards you, is the right keywords, and are you doing things consistently, and is it fresh?
Okay, y'all, any other questions for Gary? Anything else?
My part is don't do it by yourself. Get people to help you. It's a whole lot easier. It'll turn out a whole lot better for you, because people can give you some outside feedback on a variety of things in your business, whether it's SCORE, whether it's a local community college, whether it's your university system, whether it's a women's business center, whether it's a veterans business center. They are out there. They will help you.
Anything else, y'all, before we go to break? I think I've already attached Gary's 1-page business plan, so you can print that off. And then really and truly, he's totally sincere. You can haul off and call him and say, I'm totally stuck. Will you help me? And he'll say, sure. When do you want to meet? And then when he meets you, he's so kind-hearted and he's just so kind-hearted and open and not judgmental. And no negative energy, not 1 drop of negative energy in him. So he's the best person ever. You need to use him. Right, Gary?
Thank you. And if you need more guidance, all you have to do is reach out to me for that 40-page next step business plan. 20 pages is similar to this one, except a little bit more in detail. And then you got 20 pages in the appendix that goes into more detail that walks you through the process even more.
And you can even ask to meet with him more than once.
Karen,
Yeah.
do we have his contact information and his email?
No, but you're going to get it tonight.
Okay.
I'm going to send it to you. Matthew,
All right.
did you have a question? Yeah.
And the template
No,
that
I'm
I'm going
good.
to send you, the page 1, people that have filled this out have won many, many business plan competitions. Not
Totally
that you're in a
awesome.
business plan, but they have used it and they've won. So it's good stuff.
Matthew, did you have a question?
I did, but I can share it later too. I have an LLC I'd never even looked at that angle of direct or non-direct. I guess I'll send it to you, Gary, and you just tell me, I
Okay.
mean, can you ever do name changes on LLCs?
They can. Depends
Okay,
on the state, but use the form that you can fill out to have the name changed.
okay. So I'll review all that too, because maybe when I did this thing, maybe I accidentally happened into a good name, but maybe I didn't. So now may be a good time to correct it.
Sure.
Okay.
Any other last minute questions before we go to break? Okay, Gary, you were awesome as usual. And he's going to come
Thank
back
you.
and do this again later in the end and towards the end of the course, so he can give you more help if needed. Right,
Thank
Gary?
you.
Absolutely. Enjoy your evening. Thank you for what you do. What you want to do is within your reach. Just take one step at a time, get some help along the way, and it'll all happen.
Awesome. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you,
Have a good
Gary.
night.
You bet.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so it's 8:13. Why don't we come back at 8:20? We'll do 7 whole minutes. Okay.
Karen, I might be running a little bit late. We're doing a spiritual presentation.
Just an email, simple paragraph. That's it, Jennifer.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I have a pretty big PowerPoint, and since Gary just reviewed that, I thought I would show you my website and a couple of things that I would show you that are lesson learned. The whole website is a giant lesson learned. And when I started out, I didn't, what the heck is SEO and what are taglines and what is, what is all this stuff he was saying tonight? And I didn't know what all that is. And the SOS is the Secretary of State. Well, who the hell knows that? Excuse me. But anyway, let me just show you my website and I'll show you how it worked for me. And then I have the marvelous, fabulous the trusty Mark, who's an awesome resource. Okay, so I'm going to go here. So I'm going to come up here. So my business is called RN Patient Advocacy NC, PLLC. I'll tell you about PLLCs in a minute. And then my website is rnpatientadvocacync.com. Okay. And so this has evolved. And one of the things that's really key, we advertise with the Holistic RN Patient Advocacy Training Institute, but one of those is to put a beautiful picture. I'm very attracted to nature. And so sometimes I see these fabulous pictures, and I saw this. Mark and I were looking one day, and I found this, and I said, I have to have it, but we have to get permission from the man who takes these wondrous pictures. But anyway, my business is called RN Patient Advocacy NC PLLC, but this is my tagline: less stress, more peace of mind. Okay. And then I have 3 things I do for people: coaching for nurses and healthcare professionals, patient advocacy, and then the Holistic RN Patient Advocacy Training Institute. And then you can go into these, but I'll just go here for read more about patient advocacy. And you'll notice a theme on my website is nature, because I feel like nature is healing and being outside is healing for me. Being on, on trails. But anyways, I put a few Google reviews on the website and what are the things. These are the frequently asked questions over and over. What are you going to do for me as a patient advocate in a hospital setting, assisting patients and families trying to get the information they need? What makes my patient advocacy different? And I talk a little bit about my experience. I was a case management director. I've worked in acute care in hospitals for 37 of my 45 years. And then I was going to show you one more thing, and that is my story. And that's Gary was saying, you know, people aren't going to really want to spend a whole lot of time on your story. But here, my story is my mother and my sister both were diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. My mother was diagnosed with it at 13, when I was 13. So my upbringing was very catastrophic, and we got evicted from homes. And she was a single mother, and when there were 5 children, I was the oldest. And then my sister came down with it when I was in college, and they were both extremely ill, and they had to be readmitted to the state mental institution, and they refused to take their antipsychotics. But I had to rely on the love and kindness of strangers and people whose shoulders I could stand on, and my guides and angels, to get through this. And it was a very dysfunctional healthcare system. Some things never change, you know, but anyway, I just wanted to show you that. And this is a picture of me 10 years ago. I have to update that, and that's my husband, Greg. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but I just wanted to show you what these topics look like and what does patient advocacy, what the blogs look like. Gary was talking about it's really important to have something new on your website like every 30 days. And so Mark helps me try to do that. And we have a big thing going on in Asheville with HCA doing horrific work. So there's lots to write about this. But anyway, then it's really good to have a good picture in front of your blogs. And he filmed me one day, and my hair looked horrible at this outside one day. But anyway, I'm just showing this for you, not right now. Okay, this was Gary. So now I'm going to go into. I'm going to move this up, and I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to move you guys up here, and I'm going to come down here and do this slideshow. Okay. So one of the things we were going to do is we were going to talk about 2 aspects. Sabrina, can I answer your question later?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, cool. So you can see that I use nature a lot. I use nature in my PowerPoints. This is the backyard. We put in a medicine wheel. I mean, yeah, a medicine wheel about 10 years ago. We do ceremonies out here, and the backyard is just sacred. But anyway, this is a picture of Gary, and now we're going to talk about building your business. This is an overview, by the way. And then we're going to talk about what are our 2 provisions of our Nurse Practice Act. So I'm going to stop sharing real quick, and we won't spend much time on this, but I'd like to just hear from you all, maybe one provision that you found, or did you have any luck finding your Nurse Practice Act? I've had students that couldn't find it. Okay. So Sabrina, did you find your Nurse Practice Act? yours was quirky.
I did. I was so impressed. It had complete sentences. So I did. And you said share one thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So mine was not very eventful, which you already know. But it says, my favorite one was the administration of medications and treatments as prescribed by practitioners that are authorized to prescribe and treat in accordance with state law when such acts require substantial specialized judgment and skill, which I think I have, on knowledge and application of the principles of biologic, physical, and social sciences, which is why I had to do so many physics classes that I hated. It's calling me on it right there.
That was a very long sentence.
Yep.
Okay, welcome to Arkansas. Okay.
That took a lot of grammatical books for them to look that up.
All right. Well, I'm glad you found your Nurse Practice Act. Congratulations. Okay, Liz, how about you?
All right, I'm trying to find, it's not I just want to say, it's like there were two different documents that were 55 pages long. Then there was another one that was 31 pages long. And kind of all I needed was write what was on the Board of Nursing website. It says, in Colorado, the practice of professional nursing includes the performance of both independent nursing functions and delegated medical functions. The Board of Nursing considers RNs to be independent practitioners. And then two things limit the independent scope of nursing practice. Task/practice must be within the field of nursing, and RN must possess the specialized knowledge, judgment, and skill required to complete the job/task undertaken. There is no BON requirement for physician oversight of nurses during the course of independent nursing practice. Blah, blah. So, like, I felt like the 100 and so pages really focused a lot more on the development of the Board of Nursing and discipline. There was very little about, well, there's some, but about how a nurse can practice. Like, they definitely spell out what delegation is and all the caveats of when, like, if you're providing care to family members and stuff, like, but that was the piece I was like, oh, that's exactly what I want to know. And it was right on, it was like a whole separate thing on the Board of Nursing.
Okay, congratulations, you found it.
Yay.
Hooray. Yay. Okay, Luann, what did you find?
I confess I spent my day trying to get my internet back.
Yeah.
And that's where my time went. So I wanted to compare what the California Board of Nurses had with Wyoming. And that was my goal as of 8 o'clock this morning. So to be continued now that I have my internet.
Okay. Well, thank you. Okay, Lisa Nowicki, what about you?
Okay, there we go. Yeah, 92 pages of a lot of stuff. You know, how they're going to discipline you if you do things wrong. They even have a trust fund in here. I thought that was interesting. Let me read that to you. Stuff about retired volunteer nursing. I guess they receive certification. Who knew? Yeah, there's a Florida Center for Nursing Trust Fund. There is a created Florida Center for Nursing Trust Fund to be administered by the Department of Health. Funds provided pursuant to for the Florida Center for Nursing shall be deposited into this trust fund. Other funds from grants and donations, federal funds and other funds, and other sources specified by law may be deposited into this trust fund and used for purposes of the Florida Center for Nursing.
Do you see anything else on the practice of nursing on Florida?
Well, they talk about nurse assistants. You know, honestly, I just went up to about page 20.
Okay.
We have 92 pages here.
Okay. So at least you found it.
I
At
did.
least you, all right.
I did, and here it will be.
All righty. Okay.
Questions.
All right. Okay. And Lisa Seeds, what about you?
Yeah, I found it. It's several pages long as well. I think a lot of it actually talks about the nursing bylaws, as it were, and you know, a lot of ways on how the public nursing program has been updated through the federal government, and not just nursing, but LPNs and medication assistants, that kind of thing. It seemed to really dwell when I started looking at it, it was that nursing medication assistance, it seems to be very popular these days. And so I went to a couple of different other websites in regards to how we are educating brand new nurses coming out of high school. They're still in high school, still getting some of their prerequisites out of the way, that kind of stuff. So that was very important to me because I wanted to know where and how we could start building more nurses in our area. And then I went to the Virginia Education Board and looked at their stuff to see whether or not this was something that we really thought we could work with. The problem is, I felt like with all these regulations and whatnot, was that there doesn't seem to be a real change in air quotas for nurses versus medical staff and medication assistance programs for getting these kids certified. So in any case, I looked at their scholarships and their loan repayment things. And I found that when I went to yet another website in regards to that for the Virginia Department of Nursing Board, that we found there were several instances where lots of smaller businesses were trying to get accreditation. And it seems to be a lot of it's on their medication aids versus nurses. So there was a lot, but I did a little extra research because it started interesting me about what we were doing to help provide for the need that we are incurring and will get worse.
All right. Wow. All right. Okay, Matthew, what about you?
Okay, let me get to that page. So mine was a little more down and dirty, which sometimes I love New Mexico. Let's see, let's do license requirements. The act outlines the requirements for obtaining and maintaining a nursing license in the state, including education, examination, and continuing education.
Okay. Well, that's kind of short and sweet.
It is. I liked
Okay.
it.
Thank God, really.
I think they're all paraphrased, but I think that's good. They gave me 5 of them.
Okay, that's good. And Sonia, what about you?
All right, so I'm not well versed in my my nursing notes here, but what I did find was under the general provisions and jurisdiction, which is kind of the same thing that everyone else has already repeated. Mine is about 35 pages long. It just kind of talks about having the nursing license issued by a home state to a resident in the state that will be recognized by each party as authorizing a nurse to practice as a registered nurse or LPN under multi-state licensure privilege in each party state. So to me, even as a new grad nurse or a young nurse, that's very intimidating and confusing trying to decipher a lot of the wording that's in these because it's not clear. And I think that's what a lot of the issues are for nursing too, is that everything's just made so confusing for them as far as the practicing of nursing. Because whenever I had issues, I did go back to this to see how can this help me, and I could never find anything in it specifically that could guide me on what to do or how to handle the situation. So I just wish that it was more clarified than what it is. And it's the same thing with the code of ethics too, but I was going to let you know because I am on the commission for the code of ethics revision.
Awesome.
They wanted to take the word advocacy out of the code of ethics.
No, don't let them do it.
Well, it didn't go over well. The majority of the nurses were like, no, because we're still advocates in nursing too. So it's still in the provision.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Sonia. Okay, and Jennifer. What about you?
Okay, so I kind of took it a little bit differently because you had specifically said provisions of the Nurse Practice Act, which I took to mean potential changes that might be coming through. So I saw some of the chapters and the actions that these proposals are in. Regulations governing the practice of nursing. There's an action right now in implementation of the 2022 periodic review. That is currently at the Secretary's office, has not been approved yet and or reviewed. There were 4 different, I guess, add-ons that are being looked at within our state's government right now. The last one was regulations governing the licensure of advanced practice registered nurses. I thought that one was a little bit interesting because it talks about the action plan and I've shrunk down my screen so I can't read it all yet. It goes through the numbers 18 VAC 90.30.125 to reflect changes to practice agreements requirements for clinical nurse specialists made by Chapter 197 of the 2022 Acts of Assembly. This action is not the result of legislative mandate. Chapters affected only affects this chapter. Executive branch review. This action will go through the normal executive branch review process. RIS project, I'm not exactly sure what that is, but it said yes. New periodic review. This action will not be used to conduct a new periodic review. It is on a fast track stage, and it's the Secretary of Health and Human Resources review in progress.
Okay, that's complicated.
Well, it was complicated, but like because you said provisional, I wasn't sure if we were supposed to be looking for any amendments that were going to be made or changes, or whether you just wanted, I figured, and it was not easy to find. When I did find this, it's under development of planning and budget. And it was on the regulatory town hall meeting after I got
mercy.
into the Virginia Board of Nursing.
So in the state of North Carolina, ours are called provisions, and they're like the other word for them is like a standard of practice.
Okay.
And we've only got 9 of them, so that's good. so it's good, but it's always a horrific experience for me to listen to all the stuff that you all have to go through to find your Nurse Practice Act. But you'll need to know that eventually one day. So that's good to know. So thank you all for your diligence in trying to find what you're being held accountable for, which still seems like a mystery in some cases. But anyway, so yes,
Karen,
yes.
so I did just briefly look at California, but specifically what I wanted to know to compare between Wyoming, which I haven't done, in California, is that it's quite, it articulates the scope of practice for educating patients, families about their disease process, about their, their whole scene. I mean, that is in our wheelhouse, and that is legislated. So that, to me, in looking at redoing what I'm after, that's a big deal, because that is a legal lane that I can be in. So
Good. Thank you. That's good. All right. So we're going to change channels. We don't have that much time, but in about 3 weeks, we in some of the talkings with you all about coming to the course, I said we spend time on our internal landscape. And so this is one of the things we're going to be doing is we have a nationally known expert on the Enneagram personality structure, and she will be here on April 17th. So the homework is that I have to get all of your addresses, and then I'm going to send you this book. And Lisa and Luann's already have these books, but for the rest of you, we're going to do this. And just to tell you that I will, in your instructions, I will say you're going to have to go to page 5, 6, and 7. There are these paragraphs. There's 9 of them. And you have to go through and read these 9 paragraphs and figure out which paragraph resonates with you, okay? Then there's a crosswalk on page 8, and it says, if you resonated with paragraph H, then you are a type 2. That's how it works. So there's really only about 4 pages in here you have to read. But if you want to, you can go in here and read about type 2s, type 3s, type 4s. And you don't have to, because Sandra, in her presentation, she'll spend an hour and a half with you, and she will go through how the Enneagram structure is the way that you process the world through the lens of your type. So it's a very amazing, well-studied, well-documented, evidence-based personality structure that is vital. It's good also for boyfriends, marriages, sisters, brothers, neighbors, best friends, old friends, ex-wives, ex-husbands. Then you go, oh, I see, I understand. And I did have Sandra in one of my last years at Transylvania Regional Hospital that came in and did my whole charge nurse group. And that was fascinating. And then I said, okay, I understand it now. So this is kind of vital, very information for you to have as you look within, as you go without. So, all right. So I'm going to just share my screen real quickly with you here. And we're not going to get through much of this, but I am going to share this. So this is a great picture of our journey together, walking in a forest in Ireland. So there are tons of objectives. This is about the business part of the course. And so I'm not going to go through these objectives except to say there's a lot on here. But I want to just say that as you're on this journey to start your business, it is a lot. It's a lot. And we're nurses, we're used to abbreviations, we're used to medication administration, we're used to assessment plan, implementation, evaluation, and we're not used to this, okay? So the first thing I wanted to say, it was very overwhelming to me. There was a school in Phoenix, Arizona. She wanted $10,000, so that I could not afford. So I just used the shotgun approach. I'm going to use the nursing process, assess, plan, implement, evaluate in a sequential manner. I was scared to death. I was thrilled. I'll say, nobody wants to work with me. Why do I have anything that anybody wants? And then I just started doing a lot of multitasking, trying to do a lot of reading. I was highly anxious, but I was sequential. And so my bottom line was, what was my knowledge deficit starting a business, and how did I feel mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially about all this, and what resources were there to help me? And the answer is, it's a darn lot of free things, okay? So I said, I am ignorant. I don't know all these acronyms. I'm going to go to free schools. So as Gary was saying, there are hundreds of community colleges that have been benefacted by the Small Business Association all over the country that offer free classes. And that is how I found Mark. I think it was $30. He was teaching a course on blogging. I took it twice. And then after the class, I went up to him and said, will you be my IT person? And he was, and he did. And then I met Sarah Benoit at a women's conference here. She is an unbelievable marketing / website designer. She will be here the end of April to go through all of the things about basic website design. And after her class, I went up to her and said, can I work with you? And she did. So I started working with her in August of 2015. And then I went live with my website. And I had 2 websites, RN Patient Advocacy, NC.com, and I had Karen Sanders Transition Coaching because I am a nurse coach. So you may choose to have two websites. I did. And then I found that creating a website takes a lot of work. It took me about 7 months because you've got to write those, you've got to document those landing pages. What's the words? What's your purpose? What's your family like? What are you about? So, and I hired a writer to go through and edit a lot of my compositions. So Sarah was excellent. She'll teach you about Google Analytics. That's how well you're doing out there on the web with your own internet. And then this is a picture of Sarah. I'm not going to spend much time because you're going to meet her. So considerations for starting your own private practice is number one, listen to your intuition. What is your intuition telling you? Well, all of you all have something in common because you're not really that happy with what you've been doing, but you're seeking to do something else that's meaningful. And one of the reasons, of course, is to look at your Nurse Practice Act because you're going to be out there on your own, and it's important that you know where your resources are. And while you're going through this is to not be so judgmental on yourself or about yourself. Look at your strengths, your experience, your education, and your skills. All 8 of you have incredible experience, incredible strengths, and amazing attributes about all of you. And then you have to get out of that space where you are fearful, angry, frustration, and you might feel marginalized. So we also have to look at what are the things that we know that we can do well. What have you learned, and what are your strengths and challenges? Let's see, and I'm probably going to just I'm going to ask you all to go into a breakout group. So this one is going to be about who are the types of patients that are best for you to transfer to someone else? In other words, what kind of patients don't you want to work with? And what kind of patients do you want to work with? So for me, I love working with geriatrics because I am a geriatric person. But, some of you might like peds, or some of you might like mental health, or some of you might like emergency medicine. But I really like working with geriatric patients. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to send you into 4 2-person breakout groups. And your homework for with each other is to say, what kind of patients, sometimes it's easier to answer the question, what kind of patients don't you want to work with? And then what kind of patients do you want to work with? Okay. So you're each going to have probably 3 minutes to answer that question, those questions, and then I'll bring you back in about maybe 7 minutes. Does that sound reasonable? Do you all think you can answer those questions pretty quickly? I think so. Some of you might be a little stumped, but it's okay to be stumped. Okay. All right. So Mark, here we go. Let's see if I can do this. Yay, there it is. This week it's there because Mark taught me. Okay, so we're going to have 4 breakout rooms. And we are going to do this. So when I break you out into breakout groups, you all might have done this in other Zooms, you're going to see a little thing that comes up on the screen, agree to go to group number 1 or 2 or 3. And then in 7 or 8 minutes, I'm going to post a general post that says you are going to close the room and everybody's coming back in 1 minute. Okay? All right. Here we go. I see where you're going. This is exciting. Okay, goodbye. Okay. So let's see. This is interesting, Mark. Okay, there they go. Okay. Here they all come.
Yeah, Lisa, just to recap that, I don't know how do you capture someone's interest and introduce a completely different pathway? Or, that would be my question. That's something I don't know the answer to.
You mean, why would somebody want to call you as a patient advocate? Is that what you
Well,
mean?
we were talking about the areas that we share that we would
Yeah.
like to do, and how people come to you. They're either programmed in the allopathic pathway or in natural wholeness and wellness. And
Both.
Yeah.
So, well, let's hear from everyone, and then I can answer too. How did it go for you, and what did you learn about each other? And each of you talk briefly about that. So, Luann, go ahead.
Well, so Lisa and I both said that we would enjoy geriatrics. And we also share, she's a cardiovascular, her strong background is in cardiovascular nursing. And so, and I can relate to that as well. And so those are our two strong points. And then I narrowed down geriatrics into maybe 3 other areas where it would be like mobility is a big deal. Your cardiovascular, either staying well, an event, how to navigate an event and or recover from an event, whether that's a heart attack or a stroke. And then my question was, which is where we had to come back, is if you really want to introduce wellness, which is what Lisa was saying, that, she has an interest in you're dealing with a population that has been programmed to believe there's only one path of healing, maybe allopathic and surgery. And I don't know all of the ways to get someone their mind opened up where they would be interested in.
So you might want to do a 30-minute talk on lifestyle medicine, the 6 pillars to reduce stress, and improve your plant-based diet, increase your activity, decrease carbs, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I'm just throwing it out.
I bet you've done this before.
I haven't, but one of my students did last time, so that was fun. You all will
Cool.
probably get a chance to give a free presentation if you want to. Lisa,
Very
anything
good.
you want to add to that? Anything with
Yeah, we just had talked just about what we didn't want either also. But I had said my least comfortable zone would be I guess pediatrics. I was saying I don't have any children, I don't have any siblings, so kids are just, I like kids, but as far as nursing them, I feel foreign there. So yeah, so definitely geriatrics and
okay.
Yeah, wondering how like, because some of the things that I believe are holistic, like as far as nutritional, might not be like, anyhow, I just don't know how it would be interesting. I was telling Luann, like the way I live my life, it would be hard to weave in like what would be appropriate for each person holistically. I guess I would just have to learn.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
One of your primary revenue getters is to give free talks. Okay, I'm going to say that to you about 100 times, and we'll be talking about that. Okay. Okay, Sabrina, what about you?
I was able to talk with Jennifer, which was great. We both agreed for a little bit different reasons that maybe pediatrics weren't our strong point. I didn't have a chance to mention this to her, but I'm terrified of OB. So if I had to do OB, I may be throwing up in my mouth a little. So that is a weakness for sure. And then we were both talking about how it would work, behavioral health. I think that in itself has a lot of challenges and a lot of burnout. So those were the areas we were debating. We both seem fine with geriatrics and med surg and things like that. So I don't think that would be an issue. Just kind of navigating and how it ties into like social work. If you have a great resources in your area, some of that stuff gets easier. If not, some of that stuff gets harder. So that, but yeah.
Okay, thank you. Anything you want to add, Jennifer?
Basically just what Sabrina said is I just don't have the resources when it comes to kids. I love kids. I have enjoyed having them in surgery, if I get a broken elbow here and there, and really truly trying to relate to them. But if it were to come to being, a patient advocate, and resourcing them to other forms or methods, or more thorough healthcare, I don't have the connections with that.
Okay,
I would be willing to do it, but
it's okay. It's all good. It's good to know that what you're not called to do. That's vital information. Okay, Liz, who were you partnered with?
I was partnered with Matthew.
Okay, you and Matthew. What did you guys learn?
So many things. Okay, this actually, I hadn't even thought about any of this, but Matthew maybe had. And he identified two groups of people: active drug users, like not prescription or not prescribed to them. And what was the other one? Psych, maybe, but not being treated. Is that it? That's
Uncontrolled or untreated psychotic patients, and
that's
both of those in the patient advocacy roles. I think that could be a really hard group to help
Mhm.
through challenging
Mhm.
situations.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else I can kind of take, and we were talking because those are two groups it's hard to reach.
Oh, yeah.
So anything you do to help them, they may never even really be aware they've been helped.
Yeah.
So it can just be hard. And of course, because I'm a little lazy or a little old or whatever, but anybody else who's like really excited about what we're doing and happy and helpful, and those are always, there's a little more gratification right there. So those are
Okay.
my thoughts.
Thank you. Anything else you want to add? Liz, are you
And then for
complete?
Liz has surprised me too, because there was a population I didn't think about. She said pain control patients might be harder, and she is right. Coming out of a prison, I just had to go through all the drug seeking and the game
Mm-hmm.
and that, which
Mm-hmm.
is kind of like the active drug thing too. But that was her. She said that could be a challenging group for her.
All right. Well, thank you guys. And lastly, we have Lisa and Sonia. What did you all learn?
I'll start. Sonia is one of those people. She's kind of like me in a lot of ways. We have had family members of all varying ages and, having all kinds of issues. And we found that, we would just do what we have to do. And so, she's good with everything but immunizations. Nobody wants to
Pediatric
stick
immunizations.
pediatric immunizations. She doesn't want to stick those babies' fat legs. And I appreciate that. However, I did do pediatrics for a while, so I don't mind doing the peds. But like I was telling her, I enjoy working with my preteen and teen population. It's something I used to do a lot when I was doing pre-op. And I find that they're a little tough to crack sometimes, but still good. She, on the other hand, has had such a wide variety of age groups. And I really feel like that she's probably more general and able to just converse with a lot of different age groups that makes it easier. Am I about right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you all. That was that's very informative to hear how you deduced what you thought you might want to do. So I want to pay attention to our time, and I believe it's 10 after, so we're going to just go ahead and jump into takeaways. And then one of the strategies to keep you from going insane in this course with so much information is to get a notebook and to put everything in the notebook about handouts and ideas and colors and, all
Yeah.
kinds of dreaming, etc. There you go. There you go, Sonia. So I don't think I've mentioned having a notebook. That's really a great portal for you to put things in for a while. So one last piece of homework before I ask you your takeaways. I believe I've got, I've got all of your correct. I do have it's a miracle I have all your addresses. So you'll be getting a yellow Enneagram book from me probably in about a week. I'm going to start ordering them on Amazon tomorrow. Okay. Okay. So now we're at the end of the class. So if you guys can tell me what your takeaways are tonight. And it's a lot, but it's all good. So now I'm going to go backwards. So Sonia, what are your takeaways?
All right. Again, it was a lot. I think I will be contacting Gary for a lot of it because whenever he was suggesting to look on the USPTO tests, I did look up my nonprofit organization and that name is available. So I need to get on there and get that one rather quickly. And then I did check the state level as well, and our name was on that one too. And our name was the only one that had popped up. And then also putting it into the Google search, ours was the first one that popped up for that as well. And that,
Wonderful.
the organization is Regalia Making Relatives. And so when he was talking about doing like keyword planner or even the what was it, the statement, what you want to do to draw them in, that made me think a lot about how to get all of that to kind of connect with people.
Great.
But yeah,
Great.
that was really good.
Thank you. Okay. Lisa Seeds, what about you? What are your takeaways tonight?
I enjoyed Gary. He had a lot of information. My husband had started a small business years ago. We had done an LLC. It seemed to be much simpler. We went through the Small Business Administration here in Virginia, and it was easy. But things have changed since then. That's what, almost 30 years ago. So there's a lot more to consider when starting a new business, and figuring out the pros and cons of having to do that. So that was excellent. I appreciated the sheet. And then, of course, I'm really interested in this book that's coming up.
Okay, good. All right. It's pretty awesome. Okay, thank you. Okay, what about you, Matthew?
I really liked the business plan. I thought that was interesting. I tried to do a business plan for other stuff years ago with SCORE, and I was so bored. It's just not my thing. I just want to be doing the play stuff. But that actually kind of got me excited. And since I'm just shifting gears back into entrepreneurialism again, it's a really good time to do it. When he says he's got a 40-page plan, my heart kind of sinks. I go into that weird place again, but I will contact him and I will work with it. And I'm a lot more interested in making business work now than when I was younger. So I want to do that. So that was very helpful. And then I'm excited about the Enneagram too. I've done it before. I always, it's funny when you do the little test on yourself, how it does seem to come out the same every time. It's pretty weird.
Oh,
So,
weird.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, Jennifer, what about you?
Takeaways. So I do have a question for you, Karen. I don't know whether this is the appropriate time to ask. It was kind of related to this. And it was, what are some of the serious startup costs that we could anticipate?
So, that's a good question. We can answer it later, but I'm going to tell you, they're not many. They're not many. Probably the most expensive startup cost for me was hiring Sarah. And back in 2015, it was $1,500. And I asked her if I could pay it on, X amount every month. And she let me do that so I could afford it. At the time, I could not afford just to give her $1,500. So having a very amazing webmaster is a really important thing. And you have to find one that's affordable. And there are affordable webmasters out there.
Fortunately, my husband is IT, and my daughter and 2 son-in-laws are IT. So I'm hoping to get some payback one way or another.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you, Jennifer.
So we'll see. And I've briefly spoken to Lisa Seeds. I'm hoping that at the end of this, we can combine our talents. And, if we say together we've got more than 50 years worth of experience, that makes us sound, older than Methuselah, but really not. So, like I said, I'm hoping, the two of us can get together and drop a couple thousand down, get a business going, then we can take vacations together.
Thanks for the Methuselah comment, by the way.
So, so everything that, our speaker tonight gave us was, a wonderful stepping stone.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, Liz, what about you?
The message I received tonight was from Gary, and it was that this is within reach.
Yes.
And then how simple he made the part that's always stopped me in the past appear to be, and his willingness to help. It's exciting.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. And Sabrina, what about you?
I appreciate Liz because she also reminded me that it's in my reach too. So it's in our reach, Liz. We got this. But yes, I liked Gary's business plan, and also what he added at the end was really helpful to me about the photos, the reviews, that it's consistency over quantity, that you do need to kind of keep at it. I've heard that before on updating things, but I didn't really understand why, and that was helpful. So the fresh, relevant content, those are things that I think are important to work on and that I hadn't considered before. So that's helpful to me.
Thank you. And Lisa, what about you?
Yeah, I will definitely be enlisting the help of a webmaster because that is not my forte or my husband's.
Got you.
There we
All
are.
right.
Yeah.
Great. And Luann?
So I think that, marketing in this day and age, which is all virtual, is very scary. And so Gary's presentation was extremely helpful for that. And my takeaway is that there's a lot of assistance out there. So wherever it is that you're feeling like the greatest fear or fears, multiple, you can find assistance and you can find, the path. So that was encouraging.
Awesome. So, Mark, any takeaways from you?
Yeah, two words, and I'm kind of surprised that Gary didn't mention it, and I'm putting in the chat his website. He inspires me when he talks about brand doors, and I know Karen, you have picked up a lot from him in regards to branding, and you don't think about yourself as being branded, but Karen's tagline consistently is less stress, more peace of mind. In part of the branding strategy of Karen's nurse patient advocacy training, and you'll get a flavor of that when you see his website, his story, his accolades. He is absolutely incredible resource, and keep it in your pocket because he does deliver value consistently every time Gary comes to Karen's
He's awesome. So just want to say next week is going to be a divine inspiration. We are having an unbelievable speaker on malpractice insurance. So this is one that you're going to want to soak up. And I can't believe I found this woman. I've been looking for her for about 6 years. So here she is. So, okay. So, and she'll be the first hour, and I'm not sure who will be the second hour, but just want you to know how that'll be. Okay. So, lastly, do we have any hand signals you would like to incorporate or show, and we can vote on them another time? Are there any hand signals you want to say goodbye with tonight? That's mine. Oh, there. Oh, this is so funny. I think this is hilarious. I don't even know if I can do what you're doing, Lisa. All right. Well, then we will talk about this later. Have a good week, you all. Okay. Okay. Bye. Bye. That's pretty.